Sunglasses at night.
No, get off Sunglasses at Night. It's a different song.
I wear my sunglasses. That is what you're singing.
Quit chugging water. You're going to have to pee your pants.
I'm not going to have to pee my pants. I just need to, hydrate my instrument because I have a little bit of a cold going on right now, I believe.
Okay. Well, you're not fasting, so you don't really have any excuses. Okay, so 3, 2...
You already started.
I did.
Listeners, welcome. It's week 8.
I was like, it's not 8 o'clock.
It's 8.
Week 8.
Yes.
The Ocho.
Yeah. Welcome back. Gosh, we are just about ready to wrap up the season.
Well, don't say that. That's
What?
so sad.
Is that a bit of a downer?
Yeah. Why are you getting the end? Why are we mourning the end already?
Because
we've got 2 more weeks.
I know, but I only have one more format. You only have one more.
Well, technically you have 2 because you haven't even started this one.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
We haven't even begun yet.
Yeah. This journey is just getting going.
And what a format it will be. Boy, I could have gone in 1,000 directions. I really narrowed it down because honestly, we're not that podcast. We're not the one who's going to get into the psychoanalytics of this play or this movie. We're not going to get into all of the theories behind it. I mean, this one can be debated by the greats, and I would still have no idea what they were saying.
For sure. I felt like with this movie, this is what separates the wheat from the chaff for cinephiles. And during a lot of the movie, I just kept thinking, this isn't for me. This isn't for the I'm not a cinephile. I'm just a lover of movies.
Yes. We'll talk about what this goes on to inspire, and some of the movies it inspires you love. You do. So we have to take it for what it is.
I want to start off with something that we said last podcast.
Okay.
We said, let's see if this movie is better than Pretty Woman. I'm
going
to kick it off right away with saying, it's not.
For me, it's not. It's not either, I don't believe. We don't have Pretty Woman on the list, so I haven't formally made the rankings, but yeah. I would say no for me as well.
Yeah, not to spoil it, but let's see how bad or good it is. So stick around with us. By the way, we are also still at Cabin Basement Studio.
We are at Cabin Basement Studios. So again, bear with us. We'll be back in the old closet next week, where we belong. And so we'll end on a strong note, but thanks for sticking with us so that we can take the show on the road.
Yeah.
These are like those live episodes, of podcasts. I don't know. How do you like the live episodes? I usually skip those ones of podcasts.
I do. I skip them almost all the time. If they're because usually they're just not as well produced. The sound quality isn't as good. The audience laughter gets annoying after a while. So I'll listen to them sometimes, but I do skip them as well. And I usually am somewhat annoyed when it's a live episode. I'm like,
sure.
I'm sure that was great for the live audience, but for me, I'm like, whatever.
What would our live audience be like? It'd be like
Kiss and Penny.
I was going to say some friends hanging out in this bedroom.
I'd be like,
lounging.
Yeah.
That would be the most annoying podcast ever.
It'd be awful.
You could hear people just off the mic, just loud enough to be annoying.
Yep.
Ty, what movie did we watch this week?
We watched the Woody Allen classic, my first Woody Allen movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Okay.
Now you're making me doubt myself.
Go on.
My first Woody Allen movie that he starred in.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. My first starring Woody Allen movie, Annie Hall.
1977.
Okay. Sexy year.
You love the 70s. It's
oh my gosh.
favorite.
The 70s. All right. So this might have to deal with how I feel about this. The 70s, My parents, your parents grew up a little bit in the 70s. My parents definitely grew up in the 70s. Here's my deal. I don't really like the decade. I don't really like what was going on, like, from a political standpoint. Like, I mean, I like what was going on. There's some progressive movements that are good. So I don't mean to say that. But it was just like a time of turmoil. It was dirty. The clothes are all goofy. I hate the hair. I hate the facial hair. The music can be good, but the music can also be bad. It's not... Okay, people are going to be like, you're out of your damn mind.
Yeah, you are.
When I compare the 70s and the 80s, the 70s gross me out and the 80s bring me joy. I don't know. I know people are like, the 80s give you joy, flock of seagulls hair, mullets, but I would say the vibrant colors. Everything feels cleaner. The music is all super great and fun and everybody loves it. I just love the 80s.
Yeah, I think it's a part of your color scheme. Like, you love those bright, those neons. You're not much of like a fall palette kind of a guy.
But I love the fall.
Not in your clothing, you don't.
Yeah, but I love the fall.
I knew this about you, so I kind of thought that might play a factor in it. Plus, it's filmed in 1977, so there is a kind of a grittiness to the film, just in the way that it's shot. This was gonna be a real hit or miss for you, I think.
Yep.
I think I know which direction it is. Which
is
okay.
To be fair, Pretty Woman, I think, is pretty high on my list. So don't let that make you think like, oh, Ty definitely hated this. Wait to stick around to the end. Maybe I just didn't like as much as Pretty Woman, which is very high on my list.
That's very possible. So you had shared that this is your first Woody Allen movie of him starring in it. Did you ever see the animated
Gargoyles?
film?
Yes, I've seen Gargoyles.
No, not Gargoyles.
Okay.
Antz. Did you ever see Antz?
Yes, I did see Antz. Yes. He does the voice acting for Antz. You're right. And I liked Antz. I actually, Hot Take Central, you guys, welcome to the volcano because there's going to be some hot takes. I liked Antz more than Bug's Life.
Oh, interesting. I did too.
Yo, you did?
Say. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not alone in this venture.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you're alone in that. But I think we are in the minority in that. One is Disney and one is DreamWorks. And so, if you're loyal to Disney and can't find fault with it, then you probably don't like Antz.
See, and I can. I didn't really like Finding Nemo that much. I think the colors are great. I like the characters, but I don't really like the movie. It's whatever.
Awesome. Another film. I don't have a lot of Woody Allen in my rep either. But one that I do like that has been a while since I've seen it. Have you ever watched the movie Match Point? It's got Scarlett Johansson in it.
No, you watched it.
Oh, you've never seen
that
one?
I was next to you playing video games. I think I was playing Zelda on my DS right next to you while you watched Match Point.
So you haven't seen it then?
Yeah, I have, but I haven't. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. But that's interesting. It's kind of a bit of a thriller.
I was gonna say that didn't seem funny to me.
No,
That didn't have like the quirky, high-minded humor.
Yeah, no. He doesn't do just quirky, high-minded humor. Believe it or not, there are some dramas in it.
Okay.
It's funny though that this is referred to as a satirical romantic comedy drama.
I actually take the drama out completely. Like, I don't think there's any drama in this movie. Like, this movie, it tries to have, like, a 500 Days of Summer, like, we break up and then finding yourself and, like, peace with it afterwards. But it's presented, constantly with bashing you over the head with comedy that I don't think there's any drama.
Yeah. Well, some critics would say that this, for Woody Allen, was a major turning point for him.
Okay.
Unlike farces and comedies he had written prior to this had a new level of seriousness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I don't know. I'm not, like I said, this is my first Woody Allen besides Antz. So, like, besides my favorite Woody Allen film, Antz. So I'm not a great Woody Allen judge. So I can't talk about his filmography so much. But what I would say is, like, it's so firmly still in the comedic world. I just don't understand how you could feel like this is that much of a serious turn.
Yeah. No, I agree. Oh, I just thought of another one. What about Midnight in Paris? Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I liked Midnight in Paris.
That's a Woody Allen.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Midnight in Paris is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it. I liked the concept. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, he picked a lot of good actors for that.
He sure did.
Yep.
Yeah, he sure did.
Mm-hmm.
A tagline for this: a nervous romance.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Absolutely. Very nervous. Not a ton of romance, but very nervous.
Yes, your leads are both like going like a mile a minute.
Neurotic.
They are on uppers, even they should be on downers.
Yeah. It takes energy to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at one point when we were watching it last night, Ty like moved his chair up forward so that way he could get closer to the screen. Granted, it's a small screen here at the cabin, but yeah, you moved up much closer.
But I told you that wasn't always just because of I needed to be closer to like understand what was happening. That was more about like how 70s movies are shot. Mm-hmm. And 70s movies are usually shot with like mids and farther back, and there's hardly any close-ups. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, I felt like I had to be closer so I could see like more distinct facial expressions and some of the small acting choices. Mm-hmm. But here's what I'll say. You don't really have to move that close in hindsight because there's not a ton of small acting choices. They're all going to be pretty big. You probably could be in the middle of the back of the theater. You'd be okay.
That's probably fair. So some background. So obviously this was written and directed by Woody Allen, also starring Woody Allen. He did co-write it with a guy named Marshall Brinkman, and the two had the script and kind of went back and forth on it for a year. Really early versions of the script focused very heavily on the character Alvy.
Oh, okay.
So much so that it was essentially just his story, and then this romance with Annie Hall was just kind of a thing that popped in and out sometimes. Mm-hmm. Also, fun fact, it was at one point a murder mystery.
Oh, like a serious murder mystery or
no,
comedic?
A comedic
like
murder
Clue.
Mystery. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Actually, and bits of that story that got cut ended up going back to be made into a 1993 film, Manhattan Murder Mystery.
Oh, okay.
Which I have never seen, but also stars Diane Keaton and Woody Allen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got the team back together again.
The two have actually been in movies, like, I think maybe 5 or 6 movies together.
Oh, geez.
And I don't know if they were always opposite each other, but they've been in that many films together.
That's crazy.
They've been around the block a lot together. We'll get into that. I have some interesting deets about some history, but it's much too soon for that.
Oh, okay.
Stay with us.
Spicy history.
But the role of Annie Hall was written for Diane Keaton, specifically in mind.
So she was already a big deal.
This was probably one of her bigger like films, but she had done other things prior to this.
Okay.
She actually had already done The Godfather before this.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yep, that was 70 and 72 maybe, or 72, 74.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so this was not like her first, I guess, why I say her big film. No, I think Godfather was probably her first like big film. Mm-hmm. But definitely something that launched her into superstardom and into like one-woman stardom. Mm-hmm. Actually, so the character Annie Hall is Diane Keaton's maiden name.
Oh, okay.
Before she was married, and she must have just kept her her new surname. And then Annie used to be a nickname for her. I don't really know a lot of people who have Diane and go by Annie.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before in my life.
Yeah,
that feels like a weird Keatonism. I don't know.
It's typical Keaton being Keaton.
Keats being Keats.
Also, originally, there were a lot more fantasy sequences that ended up getting cut from this.
Okay, what does that mean?
All right, so fantasy sequences.
Cartoon, like the cartoon section?
A cartoon section was.
Which was weird.
Yep,
came out of nowhere,
sequence.
and all of a sudden we're in a cartoon, and I thought, like, okay, this could be, like, funny and crafty, but this film is jumping all over the damn place. Like, now we're just getting into weirder territory.
Yeah. So things that they cut, they were going to do some time traveling. They were going to go to the Garden of Eden. They were going to have a bit where they went to the French Resistance and Nazi Germany.
Oh, why? That would be, like, so, like, Monty Python-ish. Mm-hmm. But Monty Python is, like, dumb comedy. Like, it's slapsticky, farcical. Mm-hmm. Like, it kind of makes sense in their world.
Yeah.
He's so satirical that it feels like we're mashing genres in a way that feels like whiplashy. Mm-hmm. that I don't think that would make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is definitely a little bit more high-minded at times, but then he also plays a lot with that slapstick. Like there's the lobsters when they're trying to get the lobsters in. There's the part where he sneezes and all the cocaine goes everywhere.
Yep, that's true.
You know, there are things like that.
He has physical bits.
And I think that's what his his base is in that. One more fantasy that they were going to do. They were going to tour hell with Nixon as their guide.
They're actually going to cast like a Nixon impersonator or something?
Yeah.
Okay. How cool would it be if actually Nixon played the devil? He was like, yeah, I'll do it. Everybody already hates me right now. I'll do it. Because I was during the Carter administration. He's like, yeah, I'll do it.
I mean, there were a lot of cameos in this, so it wouldn't have been crazy.
And here's an interesting thing is Christopher Walken and his line deliveries. So he has like a small appearance.
Yeah, he plays her brother, Annie Hall's brother in it.
He still does his weird pause thing. So it told me that he sat in an audition or like in an acting class. And somebody was like, explore the pauses, like as a 20-year-old. And he's like, oh, I'll show you explore the pauses. And then he was like, I'm going to do this the rest of my career. It was one of those things that I thought it was something that he kind of slightly did, that people kind of like made mention of enough times that he was like, oh, I'm going to turn this into my thing as he got older in his career. Mm-hmm. But it was like, no, he did this right off the freaking bat. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, this is my acting style.
Yeah, he's so young in this.
So
He's
young.
a baby face.
Yep.
I don't even recognize him hardly.
Yeah.
Did you recognize him right away, or did it take you a while to...
No, I recognized him right away.
Did you?
Because I've seen young Christopher Walken, because he's in, what's that movie? They play Russian roulette at the end, and there's a gun, and their buddy goes back to Vietnam. Deer Hunter?
Oh, I've never seen that.
Deer Hunter. Yep.
Meryl?
Yes, Meryl. Yep. She got nominated for an Best Actress, I think, for that.
Mm-hmm. She probably won.
Didn't deserve it. I actually saw it. I was like, this is an okay performance. But yeah, so I had seen him in that.
While we're on the topic of cameos, other people that were in this, Jeff Goldblum for a hot second.
Just on the phone.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum talking on the phone, probably talking about Fly, being in the movie The Fly.
Oh, was he in The Fly already?
Yeah.
Right now?
I don't know. Maybe. That was probably early 80s. That was Cronenberg, though, who we mentioned last week with Total Recall.
Yep.
Throwback.
Gosh, he's having such a hot week this week.
Cronenberg, yeah. Cronenberg City, baby.
No, Jeff Goldblum plays an extra, and he is at a party, and they're in LA, and so they're kind of trying to show the differences between New York and LA. Mm-hmm. And he's on the phone with somebody, and his line is, "I forgot my mantra." And it's supposed to kind of like make fun of like actors or just people who are needing that kind of like self-help vibe out in LA.
Yep.
So
I like the stabs at LA, and I like the stabs back at New York.
Sure.
So as somebody from the Twin Cities, whenever you can make fun of those two cities, that's a good time. Because those are like the two biggest foils for Midwestern cities like Chicago and Minneapolis, I think.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, yeah, let's make fun of New York and let's make fun of LA.
Yeah, New York, you guys are so neurotic. LA, you're like so laid back, but also you're neurotic too.
Yeah. It's like you guys are both weird in different ways.
We also had Paul Simon, was a producer.
You had to point him out to me. You're like, that's Paul Simon, right? And I was like, oh. And then it took me like another 2 minutes before I was like, Simon and Garfunkel? I still didn't know who Paul Simon was. I was like, I know that name.
I know that
You
name.
mean Neil Simon?
No.
No, you mean Neil Simon, I think. The Odd Couple, Biloxi Blues, playwright. That's who you were talking about.
No, I was not.
Oh.
He was making some interesting acting choices. I thought like at one point he might have looked at the camera.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to know, like, hey, that's who that is.
That's not a real actor.
That's not just an actor.
Yep.
Another one. Okay, this was random. There was this bit where they were watching all of these. They're kind of people watching in New York, and these people were walking by.
Yep.
And at one point, he's like, oh, and there's the guy who won the Truman Capote lookalike contest.
That was actually Truman Capote?
It was actually Truman Capote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was so far out, too, but you can't really tell, to be
No,
honest.
I actually thought that scene was filmed very poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I actually hated that scene. He's making fun of people and they're passing by the screen too fast. So you're not really seeing even who he's talking about. And there's like somebody right behind them, like the way it was choreographed, who's also getting ready to cross. And so you don't know where your eye's supposed to be going.
Yep.
And he's like talking like behind the person after they've already passed off screen, but there's another person coming that you're trying to take note of. It was horribly done. Horribly done. It was a total whiff.
Yeah. They played with so many different film, I don't know what you would call that, not strategies, but like different film setups and different camera techniques.
Yep.
That some of them were misses.
Yeah.
Some of them were interesting though. So remember I told you there was a scene where they're both in their therapy offices at the same time.
Yes, and you're like, take note of this scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny. They're talking about the situation, like how often are you guys being intimate, and they're both like,
oh my gosh, this
ahead.
is a great thing to get into. This is so funny because whatever the number is, like their number was 3. It could be anything though. It could be 1 all the way up to like 5. No matter how many times that you say you have sex a week, the guy is always going to be like, we're never doing it. And the girl's always going to be like, it feels like all we ever do is do it. I've talked to enough married couples that have shared that same sentiment that must just be a through line since the beginning of time, cavemen and women.
Always disagreeing.
Yeah, but always disagreeing on how often the intimacy is happening.
That day in Brooklyn was the last day I remember really having a good time.
We never have any laughs anymore is the problem.
I've been moody and dissatisfied.
How often do you sleep together?
Do you have sex often?
Hardly ever, maybe 3 times a week.
Constantly. I'd say 3 times a week.
Well, that scene, typically you would shoot that like with a split screen. Well, I don't really know the why of it, but that's actually filmed side by side, and they just got a thin piece of flat cardboard or whatever to put in between them.
And
it's
so like a Luan material.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
thin,
so they
stuff
are
the
the scenes are built right next to each other for that, and it's just shot like just very low tech.
I wondered if that's what it was going to be.
Did you?
After you pointed out the scene, I was like, I bet this is not like a camera trick.
Yeah.
I bet this is a set. And the way they were able to talk so much after one another, which would have been really hard with cuts because if you had 2 scenes that you filmed opposite, I mean, one I guess could be playing while the next one goes, but that's just a lot of choreography that you have to work out. But if it was scenic and they're in the same space, that can happen because that's the magic of live theater on film.
They did some other things too. They had moments where the two of them would like go back in time together and like watch her getting hit on by like her old like college boyfriends or high school boyfriends. That was kind of interesting. I'm just again going to like different like film techniques that they like.
She leaves her body and sits on the chair while they're trying to be intimate at one point.
Yep. She's kind of like almost like a ghost situation. When the 3 of them are all talking. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. They played with a lot of different things. I think for the time, I think that was also kind of cool. Although this is also the same year as Star Wars, so we had a lot of advancements. Maybe
they didn't use any miniatures, anything's exploding like ships and stuff.
Not that I know.
I mean, if Star Wars came out, it feels like a missed opportunity
for sure.
Hey, you know what I really like? This isn't a camera trick. This is just a storytelling trick. One of my favorite things in the entire movie is when he's talking about all the kids in his class. And all the kids turn and they face the camera and they say what they did. And he picked
what they currently do now.
Yeah, what their jobs are now. He picked some weird looking kids.
He did.
There is a kid who literally looks like he's probably 10, but he looks like he is a 50-year-old man shrunk down. It's unbelievable. He's got like this receding hairline in a style that I'm like, dude, you look like an old man, shrunk down.
Already.
That's insanity. I know 50 isn't an old man.
Like Benjamin Button.
Yeah, but he just, it was nuts. Some of those kids that he picked.
I think my favorite was the girl. She was like, I'm into leather.
Boy, sometimes I wonder where my classmates are today.
I'm president of the Pincus Plumbing Company.
I sell taluses. I used to be a heroin addict. Now I'm a methadone addict. I'm into leather.
Yeah, I thought that was a cute a cute bit. I liked the kind of exploring of the past a little bit, going back to him, where he grew up. So his house, they grew up underneath of a roller coaster at Coney Island, which there is actually a house that is there at Coney Island that is built under the roller coaster. And that was not that was not written in. One day while they were writing, Woody Allen came upon it and said, saw that house under there, and he said, that's where my character is going to have lived.
Sure.
I love it. We're going to write that in. So that was a later addition, which is fun too, because he has a line about maybe that's why he's so neurotic. Or
Sure.
why he has nervous tendencies.
Yep.
Some other titles that were considered for this film, I'm going to have to, again, this kind of just explains this high-mindedness. Anhedonia, which is essentially the inability to experience pleasure.
Okay.
That was probably one of Woody Allen's like most favorite titles that they were working with, and thankfully the agency was like, nobody knows what this is. We're gonna have to do so much work to explain that to people.
And you can have titles where the majority of your audience isn't gonna know what it is, but like Inception, like,
oh, sure.
I mean, I guess Inception, you're like, that's not that hard of a word.
It's not anhedonia.
But at the same time, you don't know what that movie's going to entail. But there is a way that you can get too up your own ass that now everybody's like, F off. You know what I mean? Like,
you're a little pretentious.
You can over pretentiousize your creative ability to the point where everybody starts to just check out. They're like, whatever.
Yeah, I absolutely. Here's some lighter ones. It had to be Jew.
Okay.
There's a lot of jokes about being Jewish. A lot of jokes about anti-Semitic people's expenses. So it's definitely a big theme for him. Yep. His character often will go to watch Nazi Germany old war footage and things like that. He's just kind of obsessed with it a little bit.
Yep.
Another one, roller coaster named Desire.
Okay.
Again, playing to the roller coaster that he lived under. Me and My Goy.
Okay.
And the last one, Anxiety and Annie and Me.
Okay. I actually think that some of those other ones might have been more clever. I do think Annie Hall, its simplicity of it or whatever, like that normally would be okay for me. But this movie's not simple. This movie is so, I want to say wacky, but it's not just wacky. It's also pretentious. It's also super high-minded.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. And so having the simple title doesn't feel fitting. Like it's like when you have
a bait and switch almost.
Yeah, and I guess you can do that to effect. Like you can have a big, huge English bulldog that you named Tiny. You know what I mean? Like, and that could be funny. But I didn't necessarily get the sense that that's what they were doing. It felt more just like Annie Hall. This is kind of a plain Jane name for what I would definitely not say a plain Jane movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially for the time too, because you got to remember this is kind of the first of its kind to do this, like the fourth wall being broken oftentimes. So fourth wall is when somebody comes and talks directly towards the camera and you're like, wait a second, you're not supposed to be talking. And it's not like in an interview situation. They're in a scene and then all of a sudden they cut to look right at the camera, walk towards it. So things like that was very much like, whoa, you can't do that. That's crazy.
People haven't seen that since 1500s when Shakespeare did it with soliloquies.
Oh, right.
So it had been a hot second.
It had been a hot second. The people were craving it. The average shot time, so shot being like the length of a scene, how long do you think? Because it's unique.
Yeah, and the shots feel longer, but in the 70s, I watched All the President's Men in the Fall, which is a 70s movie with Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford. Really good movie, by the way. And even though I don't like the 70s, super good. And these shots felt long, but those felt long too. So I don't know if it's like they're shorter, but it was shorter for the time, or if they're super long. I actually didn't get a good gauge on that.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, the average...
No, let me tell you.
Let me settle up here. I'm going to drop some knowledge on you.
Oh, okay. Sit under the learning tree, chump.
The average shot time for this was 14.5 seconds.
Okay.
Now, to give you some perspective, during the day in the 1970s, late 1970s, the average would have been 4 to 7 seconds.
Oh, okay.
For a scene,
Yep.
or for a shot.
Yep.
So like 3 times more. Just longer.
I bet now it's like 1.2 seconds.
I was going to say, I wrote it down.
You did?
I did. It's not quite that bad, but nowadays, so we had 4 to 7 seconds in the 70s.
Yep.
And nowadays, you are correct, it is 2.5 seconds today. That's all the longer our little brains can handle before we're like, new shot.
Change the shot, please. I'm bored looking at this person's face. The actor cannot keep me engaged.
It's kind of sad. And honestly, like, not to get too... off the cuff here, but when I watch like children's cartoons now, like I'll walk into classrooms sometimes and they might be watching a movie, or like during lunch they might get to watch like a little video, and it's insane how fast it switches. And there's a lot of research out that just talks about like how we are rewiring our brains as humans, and now we have we're creating a society that cannot attain any focus or attention longer than 2.5 seconds at a time. So we wonder why we have all of these increases in things like ADHD and anxiety, and I think a part of it is our media is just coming at us so much faster and so much more intensely than it used to.
And you know what? Children's programming could literally give a shit. They're like, it doesn't matter. All that matters is the numbers are higher, and Lego is going to put advertisements on my TV show, and I'm going to get a buku bucks and make it from the network. So I don't care that you think I'm rewiring the brains. Because I'm making monies, baby.
It's a sad world we live in. What did you think about this being rated PG?
Bullshit. It's an R movie.
Oh, you think it's R movie?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's super mature. It talks about sex the entire time. I know this is a different era where PG-13 doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's
but if
true.
I
There's
had
no
to,
nudity, but...
Yeah, but I saw about 8 nipples. So because...
You mean like through shirts?
Yeah, because everybody's wearing
but you
like,
can see that in
underwear.
You watch Friends, like you can see that.
But if you're telling me a PG movie, I'm telling you like, is it PG or is it R? It's an R movie. If those are my two choices.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's not a PG. It's not a PG movie.
But I mean, it probably would be a PG-13 today.
Yes.
If it was re-rated.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of talk about drugs in it and drug use in it. So the one scene, we kind of talked about it earlier, the cocaine scene. So they go over to a friend's house and they're going to try cocaine for the first time. And Woody Allen ends up sneezing and then the cocaine goes everywhere. I don't know what it was originally going to be if it wasn't for this, but he ends up sneezing and it's funny because it goes everywhere. That was not originally written in. That was like, that accidentally happened during a rehearsal of the scene. And they're like, we have to keep that in. That's so funny. But if you take that out, a part of me is like, well, what the heck was that scene even about? If you were just going to do cocaine, maybe that was going to lead to one of these other crazy flashbacks or fantasy scenes.
Oh, sure.
Possibly.
Yep.
But yeah, if without the sneeze, I feel like what's the point of that scene? You know?
Yep. I don't know. I mean, besides the show that he's neurotic and is resistant to fun, and Keaton wants to keep exploring and being fun.
That's kind of their differences.
Hey,
right?
I never had to do a summary for this movie.
How is that possible? How is that possible? I skipped your synopsis?
Because, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it. What was my summary even gonna be?
Obviously. Well, for those listeners
this
who
is a hard summary too.
Are still with us. Yeah, do you have like just like a little couple of sentences to sum it up?
Neurotic guy, neurotic girl, both going in different directions, but still trying to be together. And one wants to explore and be more fun, and the other one wants to just continue on with his neurotic life, and they end up breaking up.
Yeah. I think a part of it is him reflecting back also on like, why did it go wrong with Annie and how can I get her back? And they probably break up like 2 or 3 times in this. 3 times?
Yeah, at least twice.
Yeah. the ending, so for a long time they didn't really have a good ending. They kind of had like a more of like a happy ending, and Woody Allen obviously hated it. So on the way to a preview, he wrote the ending, which is kind of famous. The bit about we need the eggs. Ty, did you remember enough of the story to tell the we need the eggs story?
It's so funny you bring this up. I thought it was a stupid analogy. I thought it was so freaking stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. It was something about there's a guy whose brother is turning into a chicken.
Yes.
He's like, oh, my brother's turning into a chicken. And they're like, oh, why don't you help him turn back or something? He's like, well, because I need the eggs. It's a butchering of the thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good summation.
It was, and I get what I'm supposed to gather from that.
So yeah, connect that. Can you connect that back to relationships or how he did that?
So yes, you could move on from it, but there's something about your like idiosyncrasies and how you need to embrace. Here's how I took it.
Yeah.
That you embrace yourself, you embrace your own individuality, your own quirks and idiosyncrasies. But at the same time, from a relationship standpoint, you don't want to just move on from it. You don't just change because you need to move on. You'll also take the lessons that you learn from that relationship as you carry forward. I did a terrible job of explaining this.
No, that's
I feel like I understand it in my mind, but when I try to voice it, it sounds stupid. I sound like an idiot.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I was taking it more from not just this one relationship with Annie Hall, but relationships in general. Like, why do I keep putting myself out in these relationships? Well, because I can't help, because I need the eggs. Like, I need the feel of
So you
romance.
took it more as I can't help myself.
Kinda, yeah. Like, well, I would just stop seeing relationships and just be by myself, but like, I can't, because then I'm by myself, and I want to I want to engage with these people. I want to fall in love, and I want all the stuff that comes with it.
Well,
for the eggs.
You did the research. I believe yours way better than mine.
I don't
so
know.
I guess I said, I understand it. I get it. I think I gathered. Maybe I didn't get it at all.
And I thought of that old joke, this guy goes to a psychiatrist and says, Doc, my brother's crazy. He thinks he's a chicken. And the doctor says, well, why don't you turn him in? And the guy says, I would, but I need the eggs. Well, I guess that's pretty much now how I feel about relationships. They're totally irrational and crazy and absurd. But I guess we keep going through it because most of us need the eggs.
Well, okay. I mean, the eggs thing, it didn't help the ending at all, what you just explained. Like, as I'm, like, ruminating on what you said.
Yeah.
That doesn't change how I feel about the ending. It's still stupid. It's still stupid in the analogy, but at the same time, I guess I didn't understand it, so it's more of a commentary on myself.
Sure.
But, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me either way.
Would it surprise you to know that Diane Keaton and Woody Allen once dated?
I mean, only not since you kind of teed that up at the beginning of the pod.
Didn't I?
So now that you did that, no, it doesn't surprise me. But if you would have taken those two sentences out earlier, just a half an hour ago, I would have said yes.
So in 1960...
Can you stop burping on the pod?
I have hiccups. Can you hear it?
I mean, just a little bit.
I had to get it through.
I've seen it like 4 times now.
I can't help it. I'm just trying
Quit
to
the burping.
Someone made me a really yummy breakfast this morning.
I know.
It's making me burp.
But that doesn't give you license to burp all over the pod.
I'm not trying to. I'm trying to hide it.
Hey, Rach, what's one of my biggest pet peeves ever?
Burps.
Yeah, and especially into the phone.
Well, I'm not burping into the phone.
But yeah, how am I going to listen to this? I'm going to put my headphones in at work. I'm going to be listening back to Annie Hall. I'll be like, oh, it's fun to explore Annie Hall today. And then here I'm going to hear Rach going.
Ew, that's way worse than any sound I just made. Gross. Do you want to hear about the hot, spicy dating or not?
No, I do.
So, let me paint the picture for you. It's the 60s. 1969, to be exact.
It was Mad Men season 4 when the style goes from being awesome to starting to get a little off track, and I'm like, oh, I'm not liking this as much.
Woody Allen has written and is starring in a Broadway play called Play It Again, Sam.
Yes. Never seen it, but it's a big play.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah, it's on like the top 100 or top 300 list.
Very good.
I have a top 300 list I'm working my way through, and I have not got to Play It Against Sam yet.
Okay. Well, Keaton is in it.
Yeah, okay.
And she says that, like, from the moment that she was around Woody, like, she just fell in love. Like, she just thought he was awesome. He was real neat. She says that a lot. And so then the two dated for probably about a year or so.
Okay.
They broke up when she had to go back out west to film The Godfather.
Yeah, Godfather, Michael. Can you imagine you falling in love with Woody Allen?
No.
Ever. There's no situation.
No. Yeah, so I'm just going to pretend that Woody Allen is, I've seen some interviews with him, but not a ton. So I'm going to guess that he's not like too much of a chip off the old block of the character in this, right? He talks a mile a minute. And granted, we'll get into Woody Allen in a bit. But I don't doubt his genius.
Sure.
But man,
Antz, we've all seen it.
Antz. Genius. But God, he is just so neurotic and wound so tight, and it just makes me anxious watching him sometimes. Yep. I just like his whole bit about being like this like crazy quirky guy, and it's kind of a bit, but it's kind of not. I just don't know where reality and fantasy character begins for him.
When he did his stand-up at the college, I didn't think one thing he said was funny, and the audience is laughing, and part of me was like, okay, is this a bit? Is the bit that he's not funny, but the audience is laughing at him right now? I was like, no, I don't think so. No. I think this was Woody Allen humor that people appreciated, or maybe still appreciate.
Yeah.
And this isn't funny. I just kept thinking that, and I had this idea that I would be walking at a party and walking through the crowd, and there'd be this guy on this couch with all these people around him, and it's Woody Allen, and he's holding court, and he's telling all these jokes, and people are laughing at him, and I stop and I just like watch for a second and watch this guy interact with everybody and tell his jokes and try to entertain the crowd, and me to be like, that guy's not funny at all. Why is anybody like even around him right now? And then I'd walk by him. Like, that's Woody Allen to me.
Sure. He just doesn't let it breathe ever. It's always, it's a joke. There's no rule of 3. There's no beat work.
Yeah.
I don't think.
He's not a giver as a scene partner either. He's a taker. He's a succubus. He is an incubus.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that this was written to, like, nobody, I mean, other than his writing buddy, like, it's very obvious to me that nobody came in and said, hey, cool it. Hey, let's cut one of these. Hey, this is too much.
Yep.
Like that's I think for me, my biggest qualm with this film is it just doesn't breathe enough. And I think as a screenplay, it's probably pretty brilliant when you stop and you can go slow and you can read it.
He's got all kinds of like crazy literary references of people who I've even read. And like, I think that I'm decently read. Like, I'm not the most well-read person that you've ever met, but I think I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
and
especially in the theater world, that's a pretty good strong niche for you, and history.
And so he was mentioning people, and he was like making jokes about some of these literary geniuses. And I was like, dude, I've read this person, and I don't understand your joke. Like, this joke only hits for you and like 5 of your friends. You think this is funny? And it's not. And so even when I understood the joke, I still thought it was miss.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah. That's kind of my my biggest qualm with the film as a whole, is that it just doesn't relax.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Well, don't be sad that Diane and Woody Allen broke up, because she has 2 sisters.
No. Did he date one of her sisters?
He dated not 1, but both of her sisters.
Okay. So imagine you and I break up, and then I date Tori, and then I date Nat. Mm-hmm. By the time I date Nat, what are you saying to your sisters?
I just don't understand it like that.
And what do your parents think when I keep showing up with different daughters at the family gathering?
For sure. Well, it's funny too because he even like talked about and Diane Keaton's mom, she's gorgeous. It's like, whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
That is nuts.
Well, yeah. I think for the normal person that would be nuts, but when we know who we're talking about, this is Woody Allen.
No. I think
so nuts.
Okay, you're putting too much stock into the Woody Allen boat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying
no. I'm not saying a positive thing. I'm saying he's crazy.
I get it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying he's crazy for trying to date the other sisters. Mm-hmm. I've heard of this before. What I think is crazy is that the family is not like, hey, third sister. Okay, we just had 2 Woody Allen daters. Nat, you're not dating Ty. You know what I mean? That conversation never happened.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening.
Agreed.
Like, how does that not go
That's true. There are 2 people at fault.
Yes.
3 people at fault.
I would say more than 3. I would say however many people are in the Keaton family and then Woody Allen. So a possible 6 people at fault here.
Ty,
if not more.
It was the 70s. What are we going to say? It was a time of love. Free love. Free love, even if it's your sister.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like at some point your parents got to come down on the daughters and be like, stop dating Woody. Enough, please.
We don't like this.
He's annoying at the dinners. We can't stand him.
Speaking of our 2 leads, I have just a little bit of info on both of them. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Diane.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad. So she was 31 when this was filmed.
And didn't look as good as when she's 55.
Gosh, what a trajectory, right?
I'm telling you, and something's got to give. She is way hotter than she was when she was younger. And we, once again, soapbox. We always talk about men as they age and they get more hot. And that's a thing. And as women age, they don't. I'm here to break the mold. Celebrate hot old women. Diane Keaton, you got so sexy as you got older.
She did.
Right? I'm not crazy when I say this?
No, 1,000 times.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree. I think she's a smoke show. I do, especially in Something's Gotta Give. It's like, gosh, what I would give.
Even in First Wives Club show, she's super cute. Super cute. Way hotter than she is 31.
Yeah. Part of it's the style of the hair and everything, but I guess I don't want to talk about the style so much because the style is very much Diane Keaton, and we'll touch on that. But she says that this is her favorite role that she's ever played, and it meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
She says that this is probably a more affable version of herself.
Okay.
That a lot of this was probably taken from Woody took a lot of inspiration from her as a person. Some of the things that people credit it, it's a character who's semi-articulate, dreams of being a singer.
Yeah,
Diane Keaton.
She's got a nice voice.
Yeah, she had early dreams of she wanted to be a singer for a time. She sings a couple of jazz standards in this, and the last one that she does, that's actually kind of a famous scene. I don't remember where it's on as far as lists of top 100, but it's something like that. Moments in a movie. Songs wise.
Yep.
And her singing that last song is one.
It had to be you. That might have been her first one. When she's doing her first karaoke experience, or her first jazz club experience, and everybody's not paying attention to her, is that how you feel when you do karaoke and you're like, everybody pay attention to me?
It would be if I ever selected a slow jazz tune to play for karaoke. I don't have the confidence to do that. I always have to do a large crowd pleaser because I need the affirmation. I don't feel confident enough to be like, all right, guys, we're going to slow it down for a moment and I'm going to sing this song and ruin the vibe.
So here's how I like to start all my karaoke songs. Now, usually I don't do this, but let me go ahead and treat you a little preview of the remix. Now, I'm not trying to be rude, but hey, pretty girl, I'm feeling you.
This is Ty's favorite karaoke songs that he can no longer sing.
No, I can't. It's been enough time.
I don't think so. I really
No
don't.
more hope and wishing. I'm about to take my key and stick it in the ignition. So let me give you that.
All right.
Let me give you that.
Beep, beep.
Running our hands through my phone.
Okay. Again, just not a song that you can sing anymore. I stand by that.
Remix to ignition.
Okay, you're cut. Oh. Do you have a backup karaoke song that you have nowadays that you've been able to like swap in that place? Because I understand that was a big hit back in the day.
That was a good one. I mean, there's a lot of 80s songs.
Yeah.
Can't Fight This Feeling. Your Song. What's that Khalid song that I like?
Location?
Yeah, Location. Send me your location. So
Again.
So
some slow jams up here.
I know, but they're cool in R&B, and people are like, ooh.
Ooh. For sure. I don't know that I have any one go-to. I sing a new song every time I do it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And I'm always a little disappointed with it.
Yeah. See, you gotta come up with just a list of songs that you're like, these are my songs.
They are, but
I kill these songs.
But I've never like tested them out.
Oh.
So like I say they're the songs, but I can't. You don't know that it's a good karaoke song until it's like trial by fire.
You're telling me. Okay. Some karaoke experiences.
Yeah.
There was the Built This City. A group of us got up there to do Built This City. Realized Build This City on Rock and Roll, nobody knows the verses.
No, I can't.
And so we get up there and it's like, so-and-so plays the mamba. And then you just say these random words and you're like, oh, this sucks. Or Johnny and I did, nope. Not 500 Miles, Proclaimers. That's an awesome one.
Oh, that'd be a good one. I like that one.
Oh, gosh. Okay, imagine there's a chick with flat top, white hair, 80s. Oh, shoot. It's not I wear my sunglasses at night, but it has a similar like vibe the song does.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't think of it. But anyways,
yeah,
it's got a huge bridge. Does this help you at all?
No, that's not helping me at all. Is that helping me at all? No, of course it's not.
Oh gosh.
Sunglasses at night.
No, get off sunglasses at night. It's a different song.
I wear my sunglasses. That is what you're singing.
It's a gal who sings it.
Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams.
Yes, Sweet Dreams are made of it. Thank you. God bless you, Rage. You nailed it. Okay, Sweet Dreams.
Okay, I hear it.
Okay, yeah, I know, but very similar to the sunglasses.
So similar.
Okay.
Did you know that?
Yes, I did, because I've tried to do this before. So we tried to get up there to do Sweet Dreams and realize there are the longest musical interludes in that song.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Yep.
So
I hear it
whenever you're not singing, you're going to be standing there for 40 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then you're just sitting there, clapping or like dancing around. And it was like, oh, this is a terrible karaoke song. You can't do it. Can't do it ever again.
Dang it. I honestly thought that would have been a go,
no,
but you're right.
Don't do it. Musical interludes will murder you.
Oh, it just kills it, huh?
Yep.
I've had a lot of luck with Crocodile Rock.
Oh, sure.
From Elton John. That's a fun one. That's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
And the only other one that I thought was noteworthy was Uptown Girl. Which
so
I dedicated to you.
Yes, thank you. Gosh, you're such a good partner. Yeah, those would be both really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about all I've explored.
Elton John and Billy Joel are pretty much gonna kill it right now.
Sure.
Like they're in the perfect time period right now that the older folks know it and the younger folks know it, and so it has just a breadth of accessibility.
Absolutely.
But so does usually I don't do this, but let me go ahead and kick you off with a little preview of the remix.
What a great segue to talk about Woody Allen.
Oh.
Speaking of someone who else has probably been canceled, was canceled, is maybe no longer canceled. I don't know. It's complicated.
It's always hard.
It's complicated. just some things about him. So during the filming of this, he was in his early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, him and Keaton are about 10-ish years or so apart. He was actually disappointed with this film.
Okay.
Do you have any guesses as to maybe why he might be disappointed?
Because it came across a little too eccentric and didn't have a very cohesive plot line.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that?
It's a little bit more self-serving than that.
Oh, he thought that he looked old.
That's a good one. It was just more, he had initially envisioned this movie to be from the guy's perspective and about what was going on in Alvy's mind. And everybody was so interested in the relationship. And the relationship becomes the story. And that's not what he cared about.
He just cared about himself.
He cared about the main character's story.
That's so funny because there are so many times when I'm doing a play or like there's something, okay, no, oh gosh, okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to talk in very vague terms.
Okay.
There's a dream role that I have.
Okay.
And I've recently thought about like, okay, this dream role is very self-serving to do this. I want to share this dream role in like a communal kind of setting or like a way that I'm able to share with a partner. So I've started to investigate the relationship of this dream role more than just the character himself, who gets lost in his mind a lot. So I'm literally having the opposite experience that I'm trying to dissect this character and share it with a partner, with his love interest. Stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. Next summer, that will probably, I don't know if it'll be ready to be released, but we'll be working on that next summer.
Yeah, that is kind of the opposite of this. This is more, he wants it to be more about the main character, and people were like, but what's this Annie Hall gal? She's real interesting. He's like, no.
Who cares about Annie?
It's not about Annie.
It's about me. I wrote Antz.
I don't think he wrote Antz.
No, he's not yet.
Maybe.
He didn't write it? He just voiced it?
I don't know. He voiced it for sure.
I want to pretend he wrote it.
He probably ad-libbed a ton.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
probably
stop
true.
him from talking, I feel like, half the time.
Yeah. I guess I'd be like saying Arnold wrote Jingle All the Way. You know.
Great comp. It's a really good comp. Woody is actually short for Haywood.
Oh.
Have you ever do you know anyone named Haywood? Have you ever heard that as a name before?
I know Dagwood in the comic.
Oh, yeah, Dagwood. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I know, never, ever.
Yeah, Haywood.
He did not write Antz.
No.
Okay. Take that off his filmography of things I'm impressed by. It's just Midnight at Paris now. Midnight in Paris.
There you go.
Because Antz, he doesn't even get credit for it anymore.
Not even. He has been married 3 times.
Okay.
And one of his most notable relationships was actually not someone he was married with.
Okay.
It was over a decade. He was in a relationship with Mia Farrow.
I know that name.
She's an actress.
Yep.
I didn't write down pieces that she was in. It's more 70s stuff.
Okay.
But very famous around that time. They were a big it couple for many years.
Mm-hmm.
They never married. They have 3 kids together. And I think total he has 5 kids total, but 3 are with her.
Okay.
They began a relationship, and Mia and her former husband, Andre Previn, have an adoptive daughter named Suyi Previn.
Oh, that's from her previous marriage.
Yes. So it's Sunyi, as many people already know about Woody Allen. He is his current wife.
Yeah.
Was never technically Woody Allen's daughter, adoptive daughter, but she was rather the daughter of his girlfriend.
Yes.
His girlfriend's adopted daughter.
So he never dated Mia Farrow? Or he never married Mia Farrow?
No, they never married. They had 3 kids though.
But they had 3 kids. So they were pretty
together.
much like, okay.
I mean, we would call that pretty substantial.
Yep.
Sunyi said that nothing ever happened when like the early on years, because he's known her for a long time, so they kind of grew up a little bit together. Like I don't remember exactly when. He probably would have first met her when she was probably 9, 8.
Yeah.
When she was in 11th grade, this is her story. He picked her up from a soccer game or something where she had gotten injured, and that's when like the friendliness started. She said that before that, like they didn't really talk or there wasn't like really any kind of like a relationship there. But then a friendship started, and like he would start to take her to games, the Knicks games.
How old is he? Do you know?
I mean, I don't know that really matters. I do have it. So she's in 11th grade at this point. He's 54.
Oh, when he's picking her up?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
gross.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. This is going to get really dark and kind of gross for a little bit, but
Gross-o-meal.
Gross-o-meal. We have to talk about it.
We do.
I'll about face and we'll pick up the energy, but I can't not talk about it.
We gotta
right?
talk about the grossos.
We can't pretend like this didn't happen. And so then from there, they started having an affair. And
when she's 17?
Yeah, I would say. Probably maybe 18.
Okay.
And yeah, the rest is history. Mia finds out about it, and they obviously are not together anymore. And down the road, he confesses his love for Sun-yi, and they get married. And
they're still together, though, right?
They are still together, and they have 2 adopted children.
Oh.
And so that is the story of the groomer and the child.
And remember that story. When Drake finally makes his move on Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh.
Just remember that we've been through this before. Yeah. And that you got to hold people accountable.
Yeah, so it's interesting that, like, that is a huge piece of what kind of derailed him career-wise for a while, understandably so. Like, people were like, I don't really want to work with
Woody. And that
Woody.
was kind of through, like, the mid-90s
Yeah, that was
right?
90s. And then also around, I don't remember if it was around this time, but he was also later accused by his biological daughter, Dylan Farrow, that he sexually abused her. But he was never charged or convicted of that. But those were accusations that she had made. And they had also made accusations that mom, Mia Farrow, had like physically abused the kids too.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So just ick, right? Across the board. Just not great.
Ick city, grossos.
Ick city. And yet he's still making lots of movies, and no one, he was maybe canceled for a second, but not anymore. I mean, everybody makes movies with him. Like, Midnight in Paris was like a couple, probably like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
He's making movies now still today. People are working with him. So
I mean,
it is, I don't,
but what, I mean,
yeah.
He's a great film mind, according to a lot of people. And that was back in like the mid 90s. And so a lot of people would be like, well, there were no charges, and he married the girl, and he's been with her for, what now, 25 years? And so part of them would be like, yeah, I guess he fell in love, And so I think people would forgive it.
Yeah.
I do. And I don't know if I'm going to hold that against people.
Hold what against people? People forgiving? Did you forgive him?
Well, it is different that he's been with her for so long.
Yeah,
it's gross. It's so gross. Yeah, you're right. No, I don't. I was trying to reason with myself. Yeah, I'm not surprised that any studios are doing that, and I'm not going to boycott his work. But I think we always just have to be like, Woody Allen, what a grosso, huh? I think that's like the penance. Like, what a grosso.
That seems fitting. Yeah. So, all right, about face. Do we want to talk about Budge? And then we'll get into some awards.
More than anything.
Budget for this, $4 million. Relatively cheap. Ends up making $38 million. So
okay,
that was at the time. Now, if we were to adjust that for inflation, it's $171 million today. Inflation, man.
Yeah.
Another about face.
Wow.
Whoa. So, kind of a success from that perspective financially, but really more critically a success is more what this movie is about. So awards. It was nommed for the Big Five.
Okay.
In the Oscars. Do you know where the Big Five are?
Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, and Best Screenplay.
You got it. Those are the 5. How many of those do you think it won?
I'm going to say it won. I want to say just 1. But I could maybe lean to 2. But I'm going to say 1.
Wrong. It won 4.
What? No.
4 of the 5.
No. Get out of here.
4 of the 5.
It won screenplay.
Yep.
I knew that one. That's the one I was going to guess. I was like,
Yes.
it definitely won screenplay. I'm going to say Keaton won.
Yes.
Okay. Woody Allen won.
No.
Okay. No, it won Best Picture.
Picture and director.
Get out of here! What are you talking about?
You're going to be even more heartbroken to know what else was nom this year.
Lord of the Rings. Fellowship of the Ring.
1977. We talked about this
Hold
earlier.
on.
I touched on it earlier.
Let me think on it just a second. I took Rachel's hand in my hand to for support. Hold. Can you give me a clue? Star Wars. No.
It beat Star Wars.
No.
Star Wars. 1977.
No.
Star Wars.
No.
It beat Star Wars.
Here's the deal. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan that you're ever going to meet. I love Star Wars, though. Mm-hmm. I love it. I grew up watching the trilogy on almost a weekly basis with my dad on weekends.
Oh, hon.
I'd always fall asleep during
memory.
Empire Strikes Back, even though that's my favorite one. I'd always fall asleep somewhere in the clouds when we were in the city in the clouds.
Oh.
So I love Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I will admit that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I have a bias. It's not my favorite nerd property, though. Not even in my top 2. It's maybe third, maybe even less than that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, there's so many, let's be honest, there's so many good nerd things out there.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Lord of the Rings is my number 1. Harry Potter's probably ahead of Star Wars for me. Mm-hmm. And there's probably something else. But here is the deal. Star Wars did so many things at such a level that was mind-boggling for the time.
Yeah.
It changed cinema. It changed science fiction in cinema. It is a landmark moment in the history of filmmaking.
Yeah.
That for this, I'm mad now, high-minded piece of shit to beat Star Wars is beyond flabbergasting. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
That is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm trying to avoid a tyrant right now.
No, you're already on it. It's just,
but I'm in
just
it.
a quiet
it's a
tyrant.
Different form of tyrant.
It's almost scarier because you're calmer.
It might mean I'm more mad than I was any other time.
I think it does. I think
I'm really mad.
Well, I mean, and not to add some gas here, but think about it from a director standpoint. George Lucas was also up this year.
Yeah, and George Lucas lost to Woody Allen, who directed this masturbatory piece for himself. This masturbatory piece that was about...
He wanted it to be more.
He wanted more. He wanted to masturbate more to himself, but he couldn't find enough mirrors. And so here he is writing material that is grandiose for himself, that is self-grandization. Is that what I'm saying?
Self-serving?
Yeah, self-serving. We'll just keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple for me, please.
Yep. And then he is highlighting himself as playing the lead actor. He's directing himself. There's no checks and balances on himself. And he gets rewarded by these critical idiots who are all trying to Woody Allen woke themselves to thinking that this is a good movie. And then they're all sitting there whacking each other off to Woody Allen. And now all of a sudden we've got a movie that not only won the 4 out of 5, the top 5, but then beats Star Wars. I'm so mad right now.
I don't know where to go from here because I'm only going to tell you more.
Roll credits.
Roll credits.
No, that's our old theme.
I know, but that is more fitting.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Okay.
How do you feel about all that?
Yeah, I
How do you feel? Beat Star Wars, Rach. It won 4 out of 5.
I heard a little bit for Star Wars. I do. I like that it won screenplay. I like Best Actress for Diane.
I do too. Those two would have been good.
The director and the Best Picture piece, not both, but could have shared. One of those needed to probably go to Star Wars.
No, both of them. There's no no. I'm not gonna negotiate. No, one of them needed to go to Star Wars.
Yeah.
They both had to go to Star Wars. neither one of those belongs to be anywhere near Annie Hall. That is ridiculous. No, I will not come to the negotiation table. I'll give you screenplay and Keaton. Woody Allen, absolutely not. No director, no best picture. We're not even talking about them for director or best picture.
Oh, okay.
Screenplay Keaton. That's it.
Okay.
Rewrite history.
Well, you'd be happy that the Globes only gave Diane Keaton Best Actress. That's all the Globes gave. For maybe once in your life, the Globes were better.
I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Go ahead.
Golden Globes, 1977. You got it right. For the first time in your history, your stupid way of doing things worked appropriately. You got it right. So, Globes, good job.
Props to you.
You won't hear me say that. Hardly ever.
Ever. Never, ever again.
Good job, Globes. Oscars, shame on you.
Shame on Oscars. Hashtag shame on Oscars. Ty's going to start a new...
Hashtag shame on Oscars.
1977. Hashtag. It's so specific.
Yeah. And then I get mad because it's like, how come it's not trending like Oscars So White was? Hashtag shame on you, Oscars 1977. By the way, fun story. Do you want to hear about you want to hear a little bit about the Oscars?
Yeah.
About the statue. Do you know where the statue comes from?
No.
Number one, there's 1,000 stories.
Okay.
There are some historians who there's this Oscar who's like a warrior from Ireland.
Oh,
who they think that the Oscars are that name was given because it's this like warrior person.
Okay.
I just found that out like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this feels like a very small group of people think this. So I did a little research.
Sure.
About the Oscar name.
Okay.
And there's like 5 people who all claim it's different things. Some people think it's based on like the name of a dog. Somebody's dog. Somebody's like, no, that's my brother. Somebody's like, no, that's me. I'm in the film business. I was part of the naming thing. And so there's like all these people who tried to take credit for the Oscars name. And there's been film historians who have tried to pin down like exactly what the truth is.
Yeah.
Nobody can find out. It's lost to history. And so all we have are all these different tales that people have woven throughout the years. And so there's like 10 different origin stories for the Oscars.
Wow.
Kind of fun to look up if you ever wanted to go deep diving.
Well, now, I mean, you've done the work for me. That's great.
Well, I mean, those are really terrible retellings of these stories because the details are all kinds of muddled, but pretty fun.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. Put that on your to research list. Do you have one of those?
A to research list?
Yeah. Like, why is Dublin the biggest city in Ireland? That was one I just researched the other day. Do you want to know why?
Yeah, you're going to tell me. I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Because the Vikings settled it. It was lowland. Okay. It was an easy invasion point for the Vikings. They made a huge trading post there. Okay. Then when the Irish kicked them out, they ruled it for a little while, but it wasn't one of their major hubs. But then the British came over because it was also a low point, a lowland entry point. And then they made it the Pale. So that whole phrase, beyond the pale, for English is an English phrase meaning like, oh gosh, it's terrible beyond the pale. Like things are crazy beyond the pale. And everything outside of that Dublin area. And so they made it huge. And then when the Irish Republic was starting to get born, they brought all their people, all the British people that had been settled all over Ireland to Dublin to try to hold on to Dublin and then North Ireland. Okay. They wanted both. And the Irish eventually like outnumbered them, and like the political power was too great. So they pushed them out of Dublin. And so they're like, okay, everybody, move up to Northern Ireland. We're going to make Belfast our new thing. And then they had voting power up there. And so they weren't able to ever take power.
I love that. There. So you just have like a little to research.
Yeah, like
little curiosities.
Tesla versus Edison. I want to know more about that story. I want to know about Henry VIII's wives and who they all were and why their heads got cut off. Okay. Yep, so I just have like a to research list.
Can I just share? So you did something really cute right now. You were so upset, but then you dug deep and you found one of your calming strategies, which is apparently to talk about
myself.
No, to talk about things that you're interested in and like history and like fun facts.
I feel like did you just do that to me? Did you use one of your school psych tricks? Like, I'm a kid throwing a tantrum, trashing your classroom, and you're like, tell me about your favorite Pokemon. And they're like ripping a poster off your wall, and they're like, okay, so I love Raichus. Here's why I like Raichus, because they're brown, and they're Pikachus, and they're bigger.
It's called distraction, and yes, it works.
You did that to me, didn't you?
I didn't.
Or did I do it to myself?
You did it to yourself.
Self-calming strategy.
Yeah, you employed your own calming strategy, and now you're in a happy place to continue on.
I'm smiling right now. I'm smiling again.
That's so great. I have a couple more things to tell you about some awards, and you're not going to be happy about it, but to be honest, you asked for this. You said, hey, make sure you tell me about all of, like, the rankings, where it's at on things. And so
I know what I did.
You did it, and so
I know
now
what
I
I
have
did.
to tell you that.
Yep. Do your worst,
Here we
for I
go.
shall do mine.
It's kind of in sequential order here now that I'm looking at it. So, for greatest films in American cinema, out of 100, this is AFI. Where do you think it ranks?
I bet it's in the 30s.
It's 31. That was really good,
It
Dave.
doesn't
Wow.
even... Here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because the viewers by this point know that I didn't like this movie.
Sure.
It doesn't belong even in the top 100. I don't even know if it belongs in the top 1,000.
Oh, Ty.
Yeah. I'm going there.
I think, are still mad about Star Wars.
No, I'm not.
I think you're
But it
mad
definitely
about
doesn't
Star
belong to be in the top 100. What do you think?
I'll get to what I think.
Okay.
At the very end.
But do you believe it belongs in the top 100?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And a part of that will become more clear when we talk about what it inspires.
Sure.
And like what comes out of this. Because you have to think of it in the time.
But that doesn't mean anything to me. Because, yeah, does this plotline kind of remind me a little bit of 500 Days of Summer? Sure. But am I going to give Annie Hall more credit for 500 Days of Summer? No. 500 Days of Summer did something beautiful and masterful. This movie doesn't get to be like, oh, but this kind of inspired it. So it's higher than it, right? No, F that. It's not. That's not how it works.
It doesn't have to be higher than it, but you have to give it credit. 500 Days of Summer doesn't come about if this doesn't happen. You won't get it. You do not get 500 Days of Summer if you don't have Annie Hall first. It won't happen. I guarantee it doesn't happen. It doesn't have to be better. 500 Days of Summer is the superior movie, in my opinion. But you have to know that this has to come first.
Top 100 film.
Greatest comedies of all time? Where do you think it's on that one?
I don't know.
This is going to get worse and worse for you as we go, just so
Oh,
you know.
no. It's probably top 10.
It is. It's 4.
Oh, God.
4th greatest comedies.
What?
2nd greatest romantic comedy.
Second?
2nd.
To what? What's first?
Okay, we've actually talked
Is it
about...
Pretty Woman?
No. We've talked about this before. So
Yeah, we have.
Remember, this goes all the way back in film history.
Oh,
so
it's the Charlie Chaplin one.
It is. It's City Lights. City Lights is the #1 romantic comedy of all time. 1931.
Yep.
2nd, Annie Hall. Then it's a movie from the 30s called It Happened One Night.
Yeah.
Roman Holiday.
Yeah, Roman Holiday is okay. It's
Philadelphia Story.
Philadelphia Story, okay.
When Harry Met Sally is #6.
Yep.
Honestly, most of these, and then like #10 is Sleepless in Seattle. So all of these are much, much earlier than that. It's AFI. You have to know who's great. It's not like most
You're right.
popular.
You're
it's not
right.
who won the...
I want to know what People Magazine says.
Yeah, what's People's Choice
What's
Award?
Entertainment Weekly say?
What's the Teen Choice Award
No,
say?
I don't need to know that. That's like too far. You've gone too far.
I know.
Because now it's all of a sudden that stupid Kristen Stewart movie that came out for Christmas is going to be like top 5. Like, no, that's not what I need. I want to know what people like around who aren't so hoity-toity.
Yeah.
Like AFI. I love AFI. I quote AFI all the time on here.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know People, Entertainment Weekly.
Sure.
Like, those are the people I want to talk to.
I
Those are my
understand-
people.
I understand that. So that's, you have to know this is who is grading this. And
Yep.
for as far as comedies, because that was #4 on best comedies of all time. So #1, Some Like It Hot
Okay.
from 1959.
Yeah.
#2 is Tootsie.
Yep.
So 2 cross-dressing shows back to back.
Yep, for sure.
We think that's
That is funny.
hilarious for some reason.
Comic gold.
Dr. Strangelove, #3.
Yep.
Annie Hall, #4. And Duck Soup is #5.
Okay.
So these are all...
I've actually seen...
Have you?
Oh, wait, what were the first 2?
Some Like It Hot.
I've never seen Something Like It Hot.
That's got...
I've seen
Marilyn Monroe in it.
Yep. And I've seen parts of Tootsie. And I've seen the other 3.
Yeah. You've seen Duck Soup?
Yeah, I've seen Duck Soup.
Oh,
I watched Duck Soup to get ready for Anything Goes. Because it's the brothers. What brothers? Oh my gosh, Groucho Marx. The Marx
Oh yeah.
Brothers.
Well, there's a lot of Marx Brothers jokes in this too.
Yep.
The other important joke for me is one that's usually attributed to Groucho Marx, but I think it appears originally in Freud's Wit and its Relation to the Unconscious. And it goes like this, I'm paraphrasing. I would never want to belong to any club that would have someone like me for a member. That's the key joke of my adult life in terms of my relationships with women.
Yeah, like the whole joke, like I wouldn't want to be in a club that would have me as a member. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the Groucho Marx?
Yep.
I butchered that. Boy, I butchered that.
No, that's pretty much it.
Something like that.
I don't want to be in a club that has me as a member. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's starting to make me feel better. This is from the Writers Guild of America. Mm-hmm. This is the funniest screenplay ever written.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. Writers would think that.
Writers would think that. And I think there's something to, if I could slow down and if I could read everything, and if everything is actually written down, to be honest, I think a lot of these were maybe the jokes that I don't care for as much are like thrown in ad-libs. But if I read the screenplay, I would get why it was up there. I'm not going to say funniest of all time, because I think I just have a different sense of humor. But I understand that from a screenplay perspective, the writing is pretty brilliant in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has funny quotes. Like he has one that I really liked. It was, everything our parents said was good is bad. Sun, red meat, milk, college. Thought that was pretty funny. Here's what I'll say though. Some of his humor, you know who it reminds me of? Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh.
He has like these little quips. Like he just keeps talking. You know, he's like, can't you hear Rodney Dangerfield say that? Everything our parents said is good as bad. You know, sun, red meat, milk, college. Like you can hear Rodney Dangerfield saying these same lines as Woody Allen.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting crossover.
Yeah.
Do you think the two ever met or collabed on anything?
No, I think Woody Allen's like, I hate Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney Dangerfield, I'm doing the eye thing right now to Rach.
Trying.
You're Woody Allen. He's whatever. I'm much funnier.
Okay,
That's a terrible.
Your Rodney is
I
getting
lost
worse
it.
and worse.
I know, I lost it.
I can't believe it. It is preserved in the National Film Registry, obviously, for being culturally, historically, and or aesthetically significant. And there's a quote from the movie that's...
So is Top Gun, by the way. Just to
like
reiterate,
one of the other ones.
aliens would see this movie and Top Gun right next to each other.
I really like Tom Cruise. Thinking like what aliens think.
I think aliens would have liked Top Gun a lot more.
I think so too. They wouldn't have got the references.
Yeah, they'd be like, Kafka? Who's Kafka?
Yeah, a lot of... Oh, gosh. There is a quote from this movie that ranks number 55 of all-time quotes. And it is a quote that Annie Hall, or Diane Keaton, says. She says it a couple of times. It's kind of a
about
cute
her
little...
not being smart enough? Or...
No, it's kind of like a cute little like turn of phrase that she uses.
Yep, I got it written down. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la.
That's it. La-di-da, la-di-da.
You play very well.
Oh, yeah? So do you. Oh, God, what a dumb thing to say, right? I mean, you say it, you play well, and then right away I have to say you play well. Oh, God, Annie. Well, la-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
Then she has a la-la at the end.
Does she?
Yeah. Or maybe just one time. Maybe it's the first time she says it to him, but the second time we've heard it in the film.
La-di-la-di-da. Yeah, gosh, she's so cute. I didn't talk about this, but I meant to. So we can kind of talk about a legacy piece here, and then I want to give you a chance to talk more about any scenes that you want to, and then I want to hear what you think.
Okay.
The final, give it to us.
Well, I think the audience knows what I think.
Oh yeah, but we don't know where it's at still.
Sure. Yep.
So one of the lasting things from Annie Hall is the fashion that Diane Keaton brought into this character. This Annie Hall look became a thing, especially around this time, the late 70s, early 80s.
She looks cool.
Doesn't she look cool?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
I don't like 70s style, but I should clarify too. I don't like the guys' 70s style.
Oh, okay.
I actually think girls' 70s style isn't terrible. It's not my fave, but it's not terrible. And she looked really cool.
Yeah. The costume designer for the movie was like, what is she wearing? She looks ridiculous.
That's so funny.
I have to tell her to take that off.
Uh-huh.
Woody Allen tells her, leave her alone. Let her wear what she wants. She's a genius. If there's anything crazy, we can let her know. But she's like, leave her alone. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And so Diane Keaton essentially dressed herself for this role and then became like a huge style icon after this and became like the Annie Hall look. Like after I watched this movie, I literally started pinning Annie Hall pictures. I was like, I love so and for those who don't know, the Annie Hall look is a lot of menswear, and Diane Keaton does this. She does this like beautifully throughout her career. It's like kind of her staple. Like so she does like bowler hats or ties and vests and big long pants.
She has a super long tie in one of the scenes. It goes down past her crotch.
It's a little sloppy.
It's really weird. And then she's got this vest thing over it, but the tie pokes out at the bottom. It was a super interesting look, but I couldn't look away. And she's so quirky that like it worked for me. It would work for certain people. Yeah. Like, okay. No, I was going to say something, but this person, if they listen to the pod, will be like, oh, I'm quirky and weird. No, I don't mean it like that. Certain people can just pull off a lot of things.
Yes.
Your sister Nat can pull off a lot of things.
Yeah. She's a bit more fashion forward. And
Yeah, I mean it as a compliment, Natty. Not that you're a weirdo. You're super quirky and strange. No, I mean like Nat's so cool. She can pull off.
Yeah, she would wear something and I would think really that does look kind of cool. Maybe I will wear ties.
But then certain people would wear it and you'd be like, you're a weirdo. Theater girls, stop wearing corsets.
Oh,
take the cat ears off, anime girl.
Yeah, it's not even just them. That's just Gen Z being Gen Z, regurgitating old things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fashion, that's been something that has been a legacy piece from this. And you hit the nail on the head when you talked about future inspo for movies that we love. 500 Days of Summer
is one of them.
Yep. Another one, I haven't seen this one, Chasing Amy.
I have seen. Yeah. I've seen most of Chasing Amy. I never finished it actually. Yeah. I watched like the first half at least though. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. It's that section of Ben Affleck, the guys who do they're like high all the time and
Cheech and Chong.
Nope. Jesus Falls from the Sky in that one movie of theirs, and then like. Oh my gosh.
Harold and Kumar?
No. Silent Bob. Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh.
Yes.
He's the director. Silent Bob is the director, I believe.
Those are a series of movies, those Chasing Amy movies.
Oh, okay.
They have like a sequence.
Okay, gotcha.
Of a bunch of those movies.
Okay. And then another one. This is a former Summers Off flick.
Okay.
Borrowed from this.
Heavily. Who did it? You or me?
I did it.
You did it.
I did it. It was a romantic comedy, also shot kind of interestingly, had some cutaways.
Did I like it or not?
I thought you liked it okay, but I think you thought it was overrated.
Okay.
It was last season.
Runaway Bride. No. Stupid choice.
Think 80s.
Think 80s, Ty. You idiot.
You big dumb idiot.
You big dummy.
I think I mentioned it earlier. It was number 6 on Best Romantics of All Time.
Oh, When Harry Met Sally. I did say it was good. It's overrated. I think it was in the 60s for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. When Harry Met Sally. Also very similar. You think about like the interviews that they do.
Yes.
And a lot of dialogue between the characters.
Also, somebody who is trying to prop themselves up too much and isn't a good scene partner, and Billy Crystal and When Harry Met Sally. He really pulled a page out of the Woody Allen book for that movie. That actually makes a ton of sense now. That was my big complaint, remember?
It was.
Billy Crystal going off the handle and nobody reined him in.
A bit of a scene hog, similar to Woody Allen.
Maybe that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
I don't like it when these guys...
It's usually men.
Who are the funny guys... take too much and aren't giving scene partners.
Yeah.
I think that turns me off when I watch a movie. I think that I see it as too self-serving, and I see it as prideful and not being a good scene partner to the point where I'm like, F this movie, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think I turn against those movies.
I could see that.
And because I think about some of the movies I love, and the partnership is great. Like, You Got Mail. Think about how great Meg and Tom were with each other.
Yeah, it feels very even.
Very even. And sometimes kicking, like, so setting it up for a spike. Like, those moments to me have so much greater payoff than watching somebody try to pop the crowd just by themselves.
Well, and I think a part of that comes down to, like, directing, too. Like, when the director isn't like, hey, cut back, like don't add that in, or even the editing, you know. You have to balance it in the editing room, and if you don't, then it feels very lopsided. So yeah, it's on the actors, but it's also on the vision of the as a whole, I think.
I've been in plays before where people came to it and they told me like, oh my gosh, Ty, you were the funniest thing in that show. And that to me isn't always a compliment. Sometimes, and I should take it as a compliment, be like, oh, they really enjoyed my performance. They thought it was really funny. Sometimes I like it better when I'm in a show and I know I'm queuing my partner up to nail it. When I'm setting them up for all these beautiful spikes that are just landing right in the audience's faces. And I'm like, yes, they're all going to walk out with black eyes. I totally set you up for these great assists. And I think I like being the assist man more than being the guy when you walk out, you're like, gosh, that Ty is so funny.
Yeah, I can see that about you. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I'm just too much of a giver, I think. I think I'm just too much of a playful partner that doesn't like to be a hog.
Oh,
hey,
awesome. What?
Did you have something you were going to kick it to?
I was just going to do the Rotten Tomatoes and critics consensus. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Can I mention a couple things before we get there?
Please.
Can we talk about a scene in the movie where they are late to the cinema? They came 5 minutes late.
2 minutes.
2 minutes late.
They're 2 minutes late to a movie.
And he doesn't want to.
He can't go in.
He's like, I can't go in. I got to see it from start to finish.
Start to finish. And she's like, there's just the credits right now. You're not missing anything. He's like, nope. Can't do it. Can't do it.
I feel the exact same way.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. And I wanted to share a story with listeners. I wanted to tell them a story.
Oh, great.
About it was right around Christmas time.
This year?
Yep, this year. A very recent story. A movie came out that Ty had been excited about for over a year. And he had been talking about this movie.
What was this movie?
He was like, oh my gosh, the new Spider-Man is coming out.
Oh, there it is.
It is going to be amazing. Rumor is, spoiler alert, Andrew Garfield's going to be in it. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. We have to go on opening day. We bought our tickets in advance. I told you, Rach, you have to leave work at this time. I need you home at this time so we can get to the movie theater. I cannot be late to this movie. There are movies we can be late to. This is one I cannot be late to. What happens? Rach comes home late. I'm like, sure, I'm just going to meet you at the theater. And she's like, no, just wait. I'm almost home or whatever. I sit there. I'm steaming for 10 minutes while I wait for Rach to get there. I'm like, I could be 10 minutes on the way to the mall right now. We could get there. We'd be fine. I know you want popcorn and pop. Everything would be great. And so then you pick me up. We're way late. By the time we get there, the previews have already started. We didn't miss the theater.
No.
Wait, hold on. Let me tell the story, and then you can clarify the details.
Okay.
Let me tell the story to the audience.
Tell your version first.
Yeah, let me tell Ty version. Okay. we get there. We're 15 minutes late. We are. And I'm steaming. I'm just on fire. I'm like so mad. I'm not even talking. I'm doing my Stu thing where I don't even talk. When Ty's not talking, you know, either he's tired or he's pissed. And I'm like, I'm so mad. This is the one thing I asked for is be on time to this movie. We show up late to it. We get our popcorn and pop. We go to our seats. I think it was just the commercial trailers, to be fair. I don't think even a movie trailer had played yet. And we get into our chairs. The lights were down, though. And we finally sit down, and then it all just evaporates. And then a smile goes across my face. I'm eating popcorn. I'm like, we're here. We made it to Spider-Man. But I was so pissed. All right, tell your version of the story.
I mean, you did correct. We didn't miss any of the previews.
The cinematic previews.
The real previews.
We missed the car commercials.
The commercials.
We missed the car commercials, quizzes, trivia.
They're playing for like an hour before the movie. Yeah, we missed those. And you're right. I was late, and I felt awful because what I had done is I left at the time I said I was going to leave at, but I didn't remember how long it took to get home. I thought, no, I should be home in like 5 minutes. Wrong. No, I was going to take 15 minutes to get home and then another like 15 to get out to the theater.
Rach was by the mall, kind of.
I was by the mall.
You're probably 10-minute drive from the mall.
Hindsight, and I said this
meet
to you.
Meet me at the mall.
I should have met you at the mall.
And that's what I said, because I wouldn't have been
it.
mad. I would have been like, hey, should we just meet at the mall? And then you're like, no. So if we would have just met at the mall, we wouldn't. Here's the moral of the story. Don't F with me when it comes to Spider-Man. You can mess with me a lot, but when it comes to Spider-Man, and when I say to you multiple times, we can't be late to this movie, don't mess with me. So I'm kind of like Woody Allen, I think.
In the fact that you don't like to be late to movies?
Yep.
Were you about ready to like walk? You're like, we can't go in. We have to see it a different time. We'll come back at the 4:00.
No, I would have been like, I would have just held it over your head forever. If we missed the opening sequence, I would have just been like, yeah, remember we missed the opening sequence? I would have just really rubbed it in.
Yeah, to be fair though, I remember also, like, when we got there, I remember saying, I will get the stuff, you go sit down. And you're like, no, I'm going to get it with you. So it was also a little like, I'm mad and I'm going to make sure I'm extra mad now.
So here's what I was worried about.
I tried to fix it.
I thought you might get the small popcorn. And I was like,
babe, I would never.
And I wanted to get my own pop. I didn't want to share. So I thought, I'm not going to let you mess this up. I'm not going to be mad at you a second time today.
No, you wanted to punish me. You wanted to be like, no, I'm going to sit here and stew with you a little bit longer so you don't get a reprieve from my sour mood that you put me in.
But listen,
I did feel really bad. Can we talk about how bad I felt?
You did.
I felt
you totally
so
did.
bad. When
you
I came
apologized.
to pick you up, I was
you
like,
didn't.
Babe,
I'm
sorry.
It wasn't like a thing where you're like, I'm not going to apologize about this. You need to just grow up. No, you were very apologetic, and I appreciated that.
Felt terrible, and now I feel worse all over again.
It just reminded me.
Psych, no, I don't. I don't feel bad because we had a good time. I mean, I do feel bad that I was late, but not like all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told Rach, I was like, in hindsight, if I ever say we can't be late to a movie and you're not here at a specific time, I'm going. I'm just going to leave you. And you're going to have to follow me there. And I'll be like, yeah, I've got your ticket. Just let me know when you get here. I'll run it out to you.
That's fair.
But I'm going to be sitting here with my popcorn and pop. And I'm going to be comfortable watching the car commercials, waiting for you to arrive. Taking the trivia.
Yeah, what's Maria Menounos up
Yeah,
to?
Maria. I don't even know how much I even got to see of Maria that night.
Yeah, time is a hard thing to feel sometimes. It is hard for me. I am
Well, when it comes to work,
late.
Rach gets distracted at work. And not distracted like, personally distracted. It's more people. You have a bad time disconnecting from individuals.
I'll walk out and then someone's like, hey. It's like, oh, no.
Yep. Instead of, and I always tell her, you just got to be like, hey, let's talk about this tomorrow. My husband's going to kill me if I don't get home. We got to go to this movie.
Well, that sounds scary. I don't want to say that.
No, you say it in a fun way. Like, my husband's going to be so ticked if I don't get home.
My husband's going to kill me.
No, but like, we got to get to this movie.
Yeah.
My husband's waiting for me. Like, just say that. People understand. Mm-hmm. It's timed. It's a timed event. It's not like we got to get to dinner where it's like, okay, hopefully that works out for you. I guess you can reservation that. So that actually works too. Got to get to the pumpkin patch. Those pumpkins aren't going to pick themselves.
Oh, what other thoughts do you have about the film? Or scenes or things you want to talk about?
Christmas in LA.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yep.
So they get to LA around Christmas time and they're driving down a really nice road, probably like some Beverly Hills place. And yeah, it's funny as Woody Allen is just kind of being a smart ass going down like, oh yeah, look at all the architecture styles. Oh yeah, look at that. Yes. Or, Santa Claus is going to have heat stroke. I can't even tell you all the jokes because they're like literally rapid fire at this point. But
this is like Rodney Dangerfield. So, sorry, I keep bumping the cord. I keep playing with it, like out of nervousness. So, I like the LA jokes, and I also liked how everybody in LA talks about how great LA is, which is funny because that's actually the opposite of my experiences. Every time I fly out to LA to visit a friend, we meet people, and it's usually my friends trying to convince me LA is not as bad as I think. And then we'll go out to dinner with people. This was great. This happened the last time we went to LA. We went out to dinner, and my buddy was like, hey, I have an actor friend that we're going to invite out and everything too. And the actor friend was seriously just like, I can't wait to move out of this place. I hate it here. Like, this is the worst place ever. It's no place to raise a kid. I got to get out of here. He was just trashing LA. And I just looked at my buddy Johnny and I was just like, this is amazing. See, this place sucks.
I knew it.
Don't try to convince me this place is better than I think. This place sucks. It was great. If you had to move to LA or New York, what do you pick?
New York.
Yeah, me too.
I would.
Me too.
Crazier, busier, probably more expensive, way less similar than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say New York probably.
I think I would too. There's a romanticism about New York and a history there that I think is more fun, even though it's harder. I think the trade-off is like, I couldn't live in either one of them for more than a year though. I think I'd be a year topped out.
Yeah. And then what's the point?
Yeah. That sounds like that was just a tiny adventure.
Gonna go starve for a year. Oh, that'd be hard.
Yep. Besides that, I don't have a ton of other things. We covered it naturally.
Cool. All right, let me give you the critics' consensus,
Boosh.
a couple of fun reviews, and the Rotten Tomatoes, and then I'll let you take us home.
Okay.
All right, critics' consensus. Filled with poignant performances and devastating humor, Annie Hall represents a quantum leap for Woody Allen and remains an American classic. 97%.
Oh my God.
Audience, 92%.
Wow. 97%.
Yeah.
Let's talk about 97% movies. I think Toy Story 3 is a 97%. It's either 97 or 98.
Probably. Or 100.
So, no, 100 is Toy Story 1 and 2. 3 had like a few people that gave it rotten reviews, and there was a memo that went around trying to get those people banned from Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if you remember that.
That's cool.
Toy Story 3. American classic. Annie Hall. Not so much. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
here, let me give you a couple of reviews.
Yeah,
give
me a couple of reviews.
Some solace in a little bit of this.
Okay.
Okay, so one of these from Robert Ebert. Just about... Did I Robert? Yeah, Robert Ebert. Or Roger?
Roger.
Robert?
Yep.
Robert.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
What's his name?
Roger Ebert.
Just about everyone's favorite Woody Allen movie. Well, unless you're counting Antz, of course.
No, he didn't write Antz. That doesn't count anymore.
New York Magazine. Unfunny comedy. Poor movie making and embarrassing self-revelation.
Agree on all three accounts.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Not poor filmmaking. That's too far. Like, because they did a lot of interesting things. You're right.
Yeah. And I wouldn't call it unfunny. But,
no, I would say.
But is it? I think the part of it that burns you the most is that this is a 97% movie.
Yeah.
When it's way further down on your list.
I also didn't think it was very funny.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I didn't really laugh that much. I'd say 5% funny.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Not a 5% score. Don't get me wrong, but
no, I know.
5% funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Here's what I've got. Sometimes clever, most times annoying. Annie Hall must have been a big deal back in the day, but now it's just a major whiff. 28%.
Ooh.
Tied with Bridget Jones' Diary. Under Halloween 3. And above Never Been Kissed. This movie is not worth it. I can't recommend it.
God.
I never want to see it again.
Yeah.
I don't think it's funny. I think it's mildly funny. Has a couple moments that will make you smile, and maybe a couple chuckles. I actually was in a good mood when we entered this movie too. I wanted to like it. I even had a couple whiskeys last night, which usually make me very chipper, very cheery, and I just felt like nothing in this movie was really that worth it.
Okay.
That was a major whiff. So, yeah, 28%. I stand by that. I feel great about it.
I feel great about that for you.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Total Recall, 60%.
No.
Much better than this movie. If you had to pick between watching Annie Hall or Total Recall is easily the choice.
No, I never want to watch that movie
Watch
again, ever.
You watch Total Recall tomorrow, you never need to watch Annie Hall. The only reason you'd have to watch it is to hear these critics jerk it off and then ignore it and be like, gosh, these guys are out of their minds. That's the only reason. Bunch of other Woody Allens in the audience. That's it.
Okay. Cool. I disagree. I got into a little bit of my pieces what I dislike about it. The needing to breathe, I think for me what was helpful is this is the second time that I've seen it. So I picked up and heard things that I didn't see the first time. I stand by that if I could read this, I would maybe feel even better about it.
Sure.
But I can't. It's too fast, right?
Yeah.
And I think there is something to that too. It's like getting hit over and over the head with rapid fire jokes. It's just not my favorite style of comedy. Yeah. You have a lot of it. I can't say that there are not a lot of jokes. There's a lot of material, but it's not all grade A material, and a lot of it needs to be left on the cutting room floor. So I definitely agree with that. It does go on to inspire some of my faves. So I think for me, I have this at a bit higher because of that. I have this under Big and above Die Hard. I have this at a 77%.
That is ridiculously high. Like, there are times when you marry somebody that, like, you see them and you think, do I even know you? Are we compatible?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this is one of those moments.
Yeah. We've been having a lovely weekend at the cabin, but I'll be honest, we've been so off on these two movies, it's kind of like...
I don't know who you are.
But isn't that kind of fun? It's like new and exciting again. We're getting to know each other.
It's more like, how could you possibly put this movie so high?
How could you do this to me?
Because it inspired movies you love?
You have to know what it was for the time. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, but we're talking about the movie. You give it a 77%?
I give it a 77, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Hon, I think a little bit of it is that you're still really mad about Star Wars.
No, it's not.
I think it's
I wrote that before I knew about Star Wars.
Yeah, but I don't think you would give me as much guff with so much fervent guff if you weren't still a little bit mad about Star Wars.
No. No.
Because in that sense, this movie did harm. Before, it didn't do any harm to anybody. It was just a little movie that did its thing. But in this case,
I knew it was going to be high on all the lists, though.
Yeah, but it took the spot away from something that mattered to you. So in that way, it did
But
harm.
that Star Wars is not even my main thing. Yeah. That's like me saying that I hate Beautiful Mind because it beat Fellowship of the Ring. No, I don't hate Beautiful Mind. Beautiful Mind's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's probably a 70-something percenter.
Yeah.
But Fellowship should have won the Oscar.
Sure.
Chicago sucks. It's a 40%.
No,
but
it's not.
Should have lost to Two Towers.
No,
Turn of the King.
Disagree.
Finally got justice.
See, we have other things we disagree on. There are things there. But you don't care that this movie is second to City Lights.
No, because
AFI. Like, who cares?
Because AFI and the Screenwriters Guild, of course, they're all gonna be like, "Oh wow, Woody Allen, so clever, Kafka joke, awesome." So for those losers, yeah, that's fine. But I'm talking about for the normal human being, the Jill Schmill that I meet on the street, that she's gonna like this movie. 77%.
Yeah, that's not a high score for me. Like 77, it's just barely fresh.
That's not barely fresh.
To me, in my ranking, it's just barely fresh. I have
if it's just barely fresh, it's a 62%er.
Well, I have a lot of movies at that, and I didn't want to put it at a 62% with every other movie that I put just fresh. It'd be with like 10 movies.
But is it just fresh?
No, it's a little bit more because it's not just fresh. There's
You just said it was just fresh.
Well, okay, it's just fresh, but like a
Roll
little
tape.
bit more.
Claude, can you back up 10 seconds so we can review the tape? Thank you, Claude.
Thank you, Claude. There's something about it that is, still endearing and for what it is and when it happened. Like the first time I watched it, it surprised me. I was like, oh, that had a lot more going on than I thought it was going to. I liked the cutaways. I liked the random fantasy pieces. I liked the going back and hearing the kids talk and then watching them watch her with an ex-boyfriend or things like that. I thought, like, that's interesting. Like, I haven't had rom-com like that. I think maybe it had also been maybe oversaturated with rom-coms, and it was just like they were just like so predictable. And the fact that this wasn't predictable, I think gives it a little bit of a boost. I couldn't tell you what was going to happen next.
Sure.
And the fact that it ends in like not a sad way, but it ends, right? And it's not a happy ending. I liked that. So there were pieces of it that I globbed onto and thought like, okay, that's gonna pull this a little bit higher than Legally Blonde,
Sure.
something like that.
Okay.
There's just a little bit more. I can recognize that there's more to this movie. Like, this is a better film than Legally Blonde. Do I want to watch Legally Blonde?
Not according to my score.
According to your score, no.
Actually, believe it or not, Legally Blonde I think is a 40%. Yeah. So that's higher.
It is. In your world, it's higher, and that's fine for you. And I actually, if you gave me the choice, I would rather watch Legally Blonde.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, because it's less work. This movie's a lot of work to watch.
Yeah.
I got tired watching it, and I knew I needed to be in a big headspace, like a sharp headspace, and I wasn't. And so I didn't enjoy it as much last night as I did the first time I watched it.
Okay.
But I did pick up on more things last night than I had previously.
Did last night raise or lower your score?
I think it lowered it.
Oh, okay. So the first time you watched it, you had it higher?
I thought it was better.
Okay.
Yeah. This was not as good as I remembered it being the first time I watched it.
What did you think I was going to think of this movie?
I knew you weren't going to like it as much as me.
Okay.
I knew it was going to be lower, but I didn't know it was going to be that low.
Yeah, 28%.
I was thinking closer like in the 50s. You would just like throw it somewhere
like
there.
moderately rotten?
Yeah.
Rather than like disdainfully rotten?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, disdain, that's too strong. I would just say bad movie.
When after I hear you talk about it and the reasons why, your score makes sense to me for sure. But yeah, I didn't know that until we sat down, and now I do. You're just always a surprise.
So you hate Mortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. You hated Total Recall.
Yeah.
You said Big Trouble in Little China is the worst movie of all time.
Yeah.
You gave this movie a 77%.
Yeah.
There are so many things about you that I feel like, guys, you might be witnessing the beginning of the end. Rach just said on a couple podcasts ago, like, divorces are inevitable. So
for Hollywood.
No, you did not specify.
Finish the quote. I fixed it.
Well, I mean, divorces are inevitable. And I was like, wait, what? Go back and listen to that episode.
For Hollywood couples.
Was that just 2 episodes ago?
Yeah.
There's Something's Gotta Give, I think?
No, that was my Big Fat Greek wedding.
Back when I was in a comatose state. When I was fasting. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Well, tune in next week to see if we heal or we continue to splinter.
What do we have next week?
Next week, we're watching my final film of the season. Ooh. We are going to watch a movie that Rach claims that she's seen parts of, but she hasn't because I've tested her. She hasn't seen anything. She's going to lie to you viewers just to give you a heads up, just like she did for Godfather. She hasn't seen jack shit about this movie. She's seen the first one and the second one, but she's never seen the third one. We are going to watch Indiana Jones 3, The Last Crusade. Yeah. Did you know at the end of season 2, I thought about replacing you?
Oh, no, I didn't. Jeez.
Yeah. I had already made a short list of some people I was going to reach out to, some female voices that I thought would have been good. Like the gal who is in Fairly Odd Parents, who plays the female fairy. She was going to get reached out to. The person who plays Raven in Teen Titans Go. The voice actress there.
Okay.
Yep.
All these Disney Channel people that.
I wanted voiceover actresses. Maybe the guy who plays Chowder in that Chowder cartoon.
These are all weird voices.
I know. I wanted a really particular voice to play opposite of.
Okay.
That would have been really fun.